What's up, YouTube? Jeff back again, and today I'm here with my full review of the Galaxy Watch 4. Now, a lot of people have been asking me about this. I've been doing the phones. I've got so many products in. You guys know this time of year is crazy, and especially all the Samsung stuff came at once. I've been trying to do a lot of stuff with the Fold, and then One UI came out, so I've been doing that. If anyone's interested in my One UI review and the videos I've been doing, I'll drop those below. Anyway, people have been asking for a Galaxy Watch 4 video review, so I'm going to do that today. Hopefully give you a lot of detail on everything you want to know. Now, first of all, I got the 44 millimeter model. This is the green. I don't know if it's easy to, I don't know if you can really see it too easily on here. But one thing to notice about them is that they all take the same size bands, standard 20 millimeter bands. And so if you actually want to get a replacement band or a different band, you can get it easily. I turned the screen off here. I got to draw my unlock pattern because I'm using Samsung Pay and it's required. Unfortunately, I didn't want to turn it off for the video. It's just a pain to set it up again. If you want to get a different band, you can do so on Amazon, and I'll actually talk about that in just a second. So let's jump into the build and everything like that. The watch is overall a pretty good size for me. You guys can kind of see how it fits here on my wrist. And actually, I'll just go ahead and mention this right now because this is one of the things I don't like about it, is you notice how there's this big gap. Like even when you put it on your wrist, there's this big gap there between the band and where the chassis of the watch sits on your wrist. I don't really like that. I'd really like it if this thing kind of wrapped all the way around my wrist. It is comfortable enough to wear. It's just kind of awkward to me at the end of the day. And it's not necessarily something where, you know, I would want to have that. So there are other bands you can buy on Amazon. One of them is the Barton bands, I think. The guys over at Droid Life dropped a link to that. But the green does look really nice, and I haven't been able to find another watch band that matches the green color. I like this subtle green quite a bit. Plus, the other reason that I really like the green is that it matches the green on my Phantom Green Galaxy G Fold 3. And I haven't really found another green watch band that will replicate that. Now, the smaller one, you know, is probably going to be a better option for a lot of people. I have a big wrist, so not really a huge deal to me. Like I said, it does feel comfortable. The band's just a little awkward. So in terms of the overall kind of wearing experience, which is the first thing that's really important about a watch, because it is a watch, in addition to being a smartwatch. My wife did get one where basically she had one of the bands. She had the smaller one and she had the pink one, and the band actually got broken within like a week. I had to order a new one. This little piece up here, right here, where it snaps into the band, the little clasp, this actually came loose and pulled out of one of the ends and actually broke the plastic piece. I don't know how that happened because she's usually very careful with her tech. But I haven't had any issues with mine, so maybe just a defective one at the end of the day. So overall, not a bad experience. This is the regular sport band. Of course, Samsung has some other bands you can order as well. So that's the wearing experience. Next, let's talk about the actual software. Again, I got to do this again. I could have turned this off, I realize, and probably should have. But I'm going to be navigating around the UI, and then I'll switch back to talking about other things. So this is the new version of Wear OS that was designed between Google and Samsung. And of course, we're expecting quite a few improvements. And overall, I would say that it is quite improved in terms of the overall navigation and sort of overall just sort of swiping through. I feel it's a lot smoother, sort of pressing the button to go back. Some people have said they still find it to be a little bit weird and janky here and there with lag, but I really haven't noticed any huge issues in my use. And I, navigate on the UI. I've used a lot of apps. I'll talk a little bit about some of the apps that I think are cool. There's a really cool app that's actually exclusive right now to the Galaxy Watch 4 from Samsung. It's actually a walkie-talkie app. It's that one right there. I set that up and tested it out with my friends, with my wife. It's a pretty cool app, so we'll talk about that in a little bit. But overall, I haven't noticed any real lag. Jumping in and out of apps is really smooth, like, using Keep Notes and things like that. Notes are syncing. That kind of thing always happens whenever you're using Wear OS, so you can kind of check and see what notes you have from the phone. But, I haven't had any problems jumping in or out of apps or using them, things like that. The Wear OS experience, I think, is much improved. The settings, the toggles, everything is really streamlined. I feel like I can find everything where I want it. Samsung has a lot of different watch faces. You guys can see the watch face I'm using here. But there's a lot of different watch faces to choose from, and they've got a bunch of different complications depending on, maybe if you're not into the fitness stuff. You guys saw the one I was using was a fitness particular watch face, which is actually right here. And you'll notice that it's got like steps and, other important things, battery life. I like this one the best. Weather, it's kind of got all the information in it. But I guess if you don't care about steps, you can change these complications to other things like your music controls and other interesting pieces here and there that you can play around with. I personally like the steps. You got all the traditional Samsung Health stuff, very useful. I feel like throughout the day, I always try to, get the steps goal. I have an office job, but I teach also, so I try to hit my steps goal whenever I can. I have tried both the running and walking when I go for walks in the morning, on the weekends, walk my pet, things like that. Very good at tracking your workouts, in my opinion. The step counter is quite accurate overall. Body composition, I don't know how accurate this is because it doesn't really go well with things that I've gotten from my doctor, so I don't know if that works great. Sleep tracking, I tried it one night, but it's not that comfortable for me to wear a watch at nighttime, so it did give you some interesting insight about it, but I will say that it's not something that I would do every night because I just don't find wearing a smartwatch to be comfortable at night. That may vary from person to person, of course. There's the weather, calendar, and then the ECG, which I did try as well. This appears to be a really nice tool, something that people have been asking, since the Apple Watch kind of had these, more in-depth, super health features is what you would call them, I guess, on smartwatches. And then you've got your heart rate. And then this one, I couldn't really get to work too well. I tried measuring my stress numerous times, and it started loading the stress levels and going through it, and then didn't give me a reading. So I don't know if maybe that means I'm so stressed out that my stress is off the chart, so it couldn't give me a reading, but I couldn't get that one to work. And then of course you can add other types of tiles and things like that. You've got alarm, Galaxy Buds, contacts, reminders, music controls, like I said, blood oxygen, all kinds of health stuff that's just extremely useful. And the widgets in here are very smooth and useful. So overall, very, very useful in terms of the software, the functionality, all that sort of stuff. You notice I keep activating Bixby when I do that. Bixby is not my favorite thing to use. But speaking of payments, and the reason that I have the screen lock set up anyways, I use Samsung Pay with this. I also set up GPay. You just have to pick the one that you want to use as the default, and it works perfectly. I feel like the notifications are a lot more reliable on this watch. In past Samsung watches, I've had some issues with notifications pushing from my phone, where sometimes they wouldn't end up showing up. I think that if you fine-tune your settings, so if you go into the notification settings and then you kind of play around with these, just make sure you get the notification settings the way you want. Particularly, make sure you turn on the vibration setting to be the long one. I think it's better because it definitely makes sure that you notice the notification. Otherwise, the basic setting where it's not the long vibration tends to be maybe not as noticeable, at least for me. And sometimes I miss a notification that comes in when I didn't want to do that. That seems to be, a little bit of an issue just on my end, but that might not be a problem for you. But overall, the software experience is very nice. I like what Samsung and Google have done. I think they've smoothed it out a lot. I honestly haven't used a Wear OS watch in almost, it's been years since I've used one, probably 2.5, 3 years before this one came out, because I just got so disillusioned with the way Wear OS kind of is. And I didn't really like the way, that it works overall, and just kind of always laggy, and something I just took a break from. So I hadn't been wearing a smartwatch for a long time. Like I said, there are some really cool apps in here as well. One of the ones I use quite a bit is Keep, obviously, you saw. And then I also use this walkie-talkie app now because you can set up a cool walkie-talkie feature with another person, and then you can set up channels, and then you can talk to that person. I set up a couple test channels just to play around with friends. I don't know if it will actually connect. Yeah, see, there's a test channel right there, one that I set up to just test. And then you can invite people. You have to have a Galaxy Watch 4 or Galaxy Watch 4 Classic right now to use this. It's exclusive. Maybe it'll come to other Samsung watches, but I really, really like this. You can also search nearby and see if anyone else has a Galaxy Watch 4 active nearby that has a channel set up. I highly doubt that, since right now I'm making this from my office, but you can do that. It's a really cool app to kind of play around with. Something else I really like. Another thing I really like is the swipe, active gestures on the side. So you can kind of swipe through and then use that to navigate, here or front or back in the settings. Like here in the settings menu, you swipe from the side to go back, just like you do on your phone. Kind of brings it more in line with the way you use your Galaxy phone. Makes it a more consistent experience. And it's another part of the software and the hardware being well thought out kind of together. And I think it really gives it, an overall really nice integration. So in terms of software, I got to give Samsung and Google, there's still some things they could do. I think maybe, like I said, maybe a little lag here and there. Some people have noticed, but I haven't had any that's really caused me a huge problem. I'll give them a B+ or an A-. This is definitely better. I would have given Android Wear OS probably, a C or maybe even a D plus at best a few years ago. So really impressed with that. So that's the hardware, the software, kind of the general fit and form factor experience. Like I said, the fitness stuff all works great for me. Payments works great for me as well. So the last thing we'll talk about, everybody's gonna know my code after this video, so I'll have to change it after this. It's kind of annoying that it times out even though I've been playing with it. I set it to the longest timeout setting, so hopefully I wouldn't have to do that. But let's talk about the battery life. You guys can see that it's 3:34 p.m. here today. I'm at 74% battery life. I would consider that very, very impressive at the end of the day. So you can kind of see it says 2 days and 4 hours left. And that's probably about right. I can honestly probably squeeze about 2.5 days out of this. I really charge it every other day because I think, that's probably where I could probably, get to safely without having to charge again. You can throw it on the charger every night, but I don't think you necessarily need it. Power saving mode, I've never had to use it a single time. Every day I've gotten through the day, the least amount of battery life I've ever had is when I take it for workouts and things like that. It might be at like 60%, maybe 55 was the lowest I ever had. But if you're just doing regular notification stuff, you're not doing any workouts or things like that extensively with it or listening to a lot of music, then you'll probably finish around 65 to 70 if you just have an average work day and you don't go to the gym or listen to music. Yeah, otherwise, if you do, you'll probably be around 50%. So, you could still get 2 days out of it. But if you're a super heavy user, you still might want to charge it every night. I've been really happy with the battery life. Honestly, a lot of my other Wear OS watches that I had before, I could barely squeeze a day out of them. In the beginning, when I first got Wear OS, I had the very first Wear OS device, which I think was an LG device, if I remember right. And the battery life was awful, right? And even over time, they didn't really improve that much with the new processors. There wasn't a lot of efficiency and things like that at the end of the day. So very good battery life, very nice software experience. I think the hardware looks nice. The band's a little awkward, so I might find a replacement if I can find a good color match for this. But it doesn't feel bad on the wrist. It just looks kind of awkward to me at the end of the day. I like the app selection. Now that you can get apps from Google Play, obviously that's a big deal. Integrates well with your Samsung services. You can pair up your Galaxy Buds to it, take it for a run, right? If you've got the cellular model, you can take it without your phone, take it for a run, listen to music, track your workout, all that kind of stuff. I think this is the best smartwatch in a long time. I think the Apple Watch still might have a slight edge, and I know people are not going to want me to say that because I'm an Android guy too. But I'm going to do a comparison once I get the Apple Watch Series 7. We can talk about it. But I think Samsung has come so close. This is the closest that anyone's ever come with an Android watch to really challenging the Apple Watch, which has been the king for so long. So Samsung has a great product here, and I think it's something that they really have a chance, maybe on a couple of iterations, to be at the same level as the Apple Watch, sort of in the consumer mind space. I do wish that kind of the Bixby stuff wasn't there, but that's the case on any Samsung device. I'm not a huge fan of Bixby, but that's another discussion. Anyway, that's my full review. I apologize I had to keep swiping the screen, but I didn't want to install my Samsung Pay because it removes all the cards, and I don't want to re-add all my credit cards. It's just annoying. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, I'll drop a link below to purchase the watch. If you want to purchase it from Samsung, it helps out the channel if you use my link, so I appreciate it. Find me over at Twitter. I'll drop the link to my Twitter if you want to converse with me there. I also write at XDA Developers. I'll drop my author page. I'll have a lot more coverage coming up, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks a lot for watching.